Hi, Andrea Waddell here. Welcome to the studio. In today's video, I'm going to continue working on these 4 small paintings, bringing them into a cohesive structure so that they work together and are going in the direction of a body of work. Last week I was working on these 2, so I'm going to finish these 2 and then I'm going to continue working on these 2. So the focus is going to be on color, abstract composition, pulling disparate little parts and pieces into something that's cohesive. And I hope you get something from watching this video. Let's jump to it. So when I was working on the 4 of these paintings and they started the base, they were kind of all going in different directions, and I want them to all go in one direction, the same direction. Because at some point that is such a critical skill as an artist, to be able to do something and do it with regularity so that we can see your personal voice, footprint, vocabulary, visual language that repeats itself. And it's very hard to do. You have to do a lot of work to get there. So that's the direction I'm going in with these 4 little ones, watching you, letting you watch that process unfold. And then I take the small, resolve compositions to some larger work. So when I did these, it was kind of play. And now what I do usually is I step back and I look to see what's going on. So when I looked at these 2 that were more resolved than these 2 last time, the first thing I noticed about this one was that it's starting to look like an abstract landscape. If I remove this bit right here, it becomes a landscape. And then I looked at this one, and this one is doing more or less the same thing. So that becomes a decision. Is play, look and see what's going on. If it starts to look like it's going in the direction of something that is, sort of representational or looks like something, either I'm going to decide I'm going to keep going in that direction or I'm going to break it up. So I like what it's doing, so I'm going to let it keep going in that direction for these 2 sort of like landscape abstractions. That's what I'm going to work on for these 2. These are still in the play stage, where I'm not really sure where these are going. So this has sort of got a similar composition to this, where these kind of look like little cliffs almost, a little bit of water, cliffs, and then coming down the center line. This looks kind of similar, like it's doing the same thing, so I could maybe keep that going for that one. And I'm not sure what's happening with this one, so we'll see where that is going. So I think what I'm going to do here, and this was done a week ago to tell you about drying time with the R&F pigment sticks, which is mostly what I was using, is some of the sticks take a lot longer to dry than others, and this Talo Green Light, which is one of my favorite and go-tos, this color, takes forever to dry. Very abstracted one. And so, because the sky was what was making this look like a landscape, or this light, really light, this basically what's making this look like a landscape to me are these edges. And so if I remove that, we're pretty much there. What it wants to be, which is a sort of a kind of a landscape. But I do want it to stay abstract, because I have a series that I've worked on that are these sort of fantastical abstracted landscapes. I don't want that to be this. I want this to be, I still want this to be more of a, you can read a landscape if you want to, but you don't have to type of composition. So if I get rid of this, and I start, it's probably going to be enough. I'm being very deliberate. This is very bright and it looks beautiful because this is super muted and muddied. I'm not convinced about all of these, so if I take some of that away, then we look over here more. So I might tone this down a little bit. So when I start to think landscape, I start to envision things kind of moving in all kinds of different directions. It's nice when you get to the, ooh, something's happening phase. It's kind of, some people love the let me be chaotic phase. I love it when I start to see things. And I know where I'm kind of going to take it. And that starts to look like maybe a little golden hill or something. That just dropped down. I think I can maybe emphasize a shadow down here. I saw an indigo. What was this? I could choose a purple because I've got this here. Or I'm going to use this color. It's an indigo. Let's see if that works. I'm going to use it as a glaze. I don't have very much of my glaze left. My blending stick. I think that's my indigo. It might be my gray. I'm not sure what color that is. Just want to emphasize this shadow. And I want to be more this was a collage element. So I want to keep it simple, simplified forms. And if you darken the sides of something like this, it makes, it kind of will make the inside part of your composition brighter and glow. More defined, like a little cliff that we might see in our Sonoma Hills or somewhere. Clean that edge up. And this looks like it's just something that's coming through here, maybe. I like it. I'm gonna let that live. Bring this one. And do the same thing. I'm gonna let this one be a landscape, but it's still an abstraction. A glaze, I think I'll bring a little pink glaze over this one. So I don't want it to look like I've just, the color that is directly pulled out of the tube. You never want it to look like that. Like, oh, I see, she used this color or that color. You want to keep, that's sort of the point of layering, is that you get more and more nuanced colors. And you never really know how you're going to get them, how they're going to come out. That's one of the main, points and purposes of pulling a glaze over things. So my idea was, because this looks like some sort of dramatic cliff, maybe what I'll do is a contrast of a sort of a value switch here, and that will make this more glowy. I think that's what will happen, so I'm going to try that. Because I use this color over there, I might just use it again. Trying to have this be a glaze. So I just want to darken this whole area here. sometimes what I do is I stop. I make a gesture and then I stop. I don't keep going. One thing I see people kind of get maybe hung up on is that if they're going back and forth and back and forth. Because sometimes if you make just a quick gesture like this, sometimes that's all you need and it works. It does something. Like, I like that little weird shape. I kind of like the way these are all look like strange little blocks rather than smoothing it all out. And then I look at it and then I decide what to do with it. If that makes sense. This one got to be very, very landscape-like. I have to decide whether I want it to be that literal or not. This one, you probably can't see that, but I need to step back from this to see what I'm doing. Now I don't like that shape, that round shape. So I'm just gonna do stuff. A lot of painting is exactly that. It's, well, what happens if I tried this? What happens if I do that? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm looking at simplifying my shapes here. I'm creating some differences. This one has a lot of texture. So I'm working with some texture that I don't want, like that lump. I'm not sure what this is. And I'm working anything that I do that does, oh, that's kind of interesting. I keep allowing that to happen. And if I just put this on haphazardly and I will stop to think, well, do I smooth that out or do I take a look at it first? But I do want to fix this little edge so that it doesn't look like I just threw it on. That's an interesting discovery. I've never, see, this is the thing about color, you're always discovering. I've never laid this pink on top of this indigo blue before, and I like what that happened. I like that. This is a perfect example of juxtaposing this sort of a cool pink and a warm pink. Let's go lift and look and see what this one's doing. Oh, I like that. I don't know if I need that. This is awfully thick here. A little bit too thick. This isn't dry yet. I don't like this round shape. That's what I'm trying to work on. Since I've got my solvent, I might as well just let it drip. It's always in search of what happens if I do this. I've started, I might as well just keep it going. This purple color is not really working. I'm trying to get rid of it. I got these cheap rollers on Amazon for $5. They work great for just this, lifting up solvent. Oh yeah, there we go. I went from really liking this line to not liking it now. It's like right in the middle, that's partly its problem. What I'm trying to work on to articulate my process a little better is this is a very pretty color. So if I have a pretty color next to another pretty color, it's too pretty. They cancel each other out. So I'm trying to work on that, knock that back a little bit, because I really like this pink, because I'm a pink girl. So I want us to look at it, and the purple was not allowing that to happen. There. Now I found a color I like. I like that. I don't like, this is great. I'm glad I'm filming this so you can see the sort of the end of a process when it's just these little fussing around with small details. And I pulled that aside and I didn't like this edge right here. When it looks like it's just not finished, or that it was just put on arbitrarily rather than deliberately. Clean that up a little bit. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one better than this one. This one, it's too much like a landscape for me. So I gotta figure this out. I don't want it, I want this to be, this is exactly a perfect example. I'm trying to create something that is cohesive, that is abstracted, that isn't too visibly a landscape. And so the decision I'm making is to continue to try to turn this back into an abstract, is so that it works with everything that I'm working with, everything that I'm creating. And so now I've created this horizon line, and we've got a sky, so no. It needs, at the risk of ruining it, I gotta come back in. Because I like what that one did. I like that one over there because that can either be a landscape or it can be an abstract. That's what I want. That's that idea of what, being kind of aware of what is your intention. What are we working on? So I'm just going to try to create some random shapes here that are going to break this up a little bit. It's very painful to do this because it could have been finished, but it wasn't. It's exactly that idea. It wasn't consistently doing that abstract thing where people are at liberty to see a landscape or see something entirely different. That's what I want. That's what I'm trying to do here. All right, so I gotta keep working on it. I can still have this part. I could do. It's what's making this very landscapey. It's this sky. It's this light blue sky. So it's light, it's blue, it's receding backwards. And then everything else is pulling forwards, and that's fine. It's definitely looking like a landscape. That's better already. That's better already. Let's leave that alone. All right, now, I'm going to take this one because it's in the most chaotic phase. It's got a very big thing right here. I'm not sure. For this one, I'm in a who knows what it's going to be phase. It's got too much. So I'm just going to see how dry it is. And I think what I'll do is I see these two things are unrelated. I've got this cool thing, and then I've got all this happening. I've got this zigzag line. I've got yet again a horizon. I guess my unconscious wants to be doing these semi-abstract landscapes, so I'm going to let that happen, remove that little line there. And maybe what I can just do is pull this together. Try to This is my dry pastel. I got this in France. I have not found these here. And I'm just letting my hand move here, just to see, just letting it go. That's wild. That's wild. I like it now. So now, that's enough action. So let's just get rid of all this stuff. It's too much action. Let me just darken it. Oh, wow, look at that color. Oh, this is what the beauty of transparent color is. It has this sort of unbelievable undertones. Its top tones sometimes aren't that strong, but when you start to pull it and extend it, you get these really rich, unbelievable tones. I'm trying to edit out some of this. I might even have to pull some in over here. So yeah, so I guess what happens too when you're creating a body of work, this is my theme, is that you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing coming in. You have an intention, an idea, cohesive, abstracted renditions of place. And then the paintings, then you explore, and then it's going to do what it's going to do. But since those have turned into these sort of abstract place things, and I like the way those are going, I want this to go in the same direction. It's this collage element is actually creating more problems for me. I like what's happening up here. I think my pink business was maybe not the most successful idea. I'm going to first of all, pull this across. There we go, that's already better. Get these to kind of work together. This is exactly what I was talking about before. You see pretty, pretty, bright, bright. No. No. It was fun going on, but it did not serve my purpose because it's too much, too busy. It's much more effective when it's just popping through like that. And if I want this madness here, then I'm going to stay with my neutral white and edit everything else. This is maybe, perhaps, what's under here? All right, this is my Gamsol. I'm just gonna put it on here and calm everybody, calm down everybody. Maybe not. So I'm just putting some Gamsol down. This is very hard. This is what my problem with collage. It's really hard to integrate it. It just takes over a composition. My $5 roller. Some of that Gamsol up. Okay, I think what needs to happen is I want to integrate this thing. This is what's so funny about that pink. Maybe the solution for the pink is just a tiny bit. Otherwise, it's just, yeah. So the decision I'm making is I want this to be more of the focus, so I need to eliminate all the stuff that's pulling focus. Even too much would be better. Just that small dot was enough. Oh, I kind of like that. Oh yeah. Yes, it's doing what I want it to do. It's you could think it's a landscape, or you could think it's something completely, it can be whatever you want it to be. Oh, I like that. And this like haphazard strips. Okay, that one got pulled together for now. I don't even remember. Oh, yes. This is the one with the super, it has very lumpy, problematic texture under this, so I don't know if I will be able to pull this off without it becoming a very thick oil and cold wax painting. Wow. Oh my God. I don't know if I can fix this guy. This thing is maybe 2 years old, 3. Sometimes my play stage, that's what it is. Scrape back pretty aggressively to see if I can't get to a texture I like. Because I don't like this. This one might go in the trash. I'm not sure. This was kind of what I wanted to do sort of as an experiment for this YouTube video, to see if this one could go in that direction. But I might have been better off just using a fresh board than trying to get this one to cooperate. Flattened areas of this. Although I like what that just did. Yeah, even this one is looking like a little landscape. Looks like that's the skyline. These are some odd shapes. Yeah. Sometimes it ways that people. Trying to tie these two shapes together. Oh, that's kind of cute. It looks like a little house. I'm gonna let that be. I think that's kind of fun. There's my little cabin in the woods. Yay. Not sure about this purple thing. That's cool. I'm trying to determine whether this should be a darker color. I don't want it to distract from this now. Maybe. Same with this. I don't like that line right there. Right, okay. I just please like. Since this is already so bright and working so well, I might emphasize it even more. I'm not edge. I'm managing my bright, so if I'm making this very bright, I don't want this to also be bright. I want this to talk to that. This is a warm white, and this is a cool white, and this guy is in our way. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this last bit of ugly blue. These are all the same tones now, all the same value. I think since I've used the green here, I should put it here too. Where is it? I guess. Well. Yeah, I think it's pretty much there. They're working together. I still have maybe some questions about this guy. This one's trickier, and it's because of this collage element. So I still have questions about this, so I think I'm gonna just do as a final thing, I know it's a risk, I'm down to my brow last, and wax. Because I don't like the bottom of this painting. I don't like this. Yeah, this one's trickier. This one is fighting me. But I still think that's better. It was just this textured lump. And as much as I love this color, I think this will read better if this is communicate better with the rest of things, if it's got some of this in it. That might be better. Let's just look a little bit of, let's look. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, so that's kind of the way that I approach things, of pulling things into a body of work, is when you get to after your play stage, you're looking at your shapes, you're remembering your intention, what am I trying to do, and there is a very subtle thing that goes on between what I want to do, my intention is to be abstracted, maybe to be a form of something that's recognizable, and then the painting is going to do something in its own thing, and you're kind of following where the painting is going, following your intention, and bringing it all together. I hope you got something from watching this video. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that. If you're interested in taking classes with me, I have lots of things going on, both online and in person. And I'll see you next time.